Some time prior, a disaster obliterated a lot of human progress. The as-of-late dead, for an obscure explanation, had gotten back to life and ended the existence of the living. These zombies duplicated quickly by adding to their positions with each new casualty. Quite a while later, the dead enormously dwarfed the living. A large number of the residing in the area have escaped to the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where a medieval-like government has grabbed hold. Verged on three sides by a huge stream and on the other by an electric blockade, the city has turned into a safe haven against the undead danger. Fiddler Green, the focal point of this city, is where the rich and strong live in extravagance while the remainder of the populace in the city lives in neediness. Paul Kaufman governs the city with an iron-clench hand and overpowering capability. Kaufman supported the development of Dead Retribution, a vigorously defensively covered vehicle that can branch out into the universe of Dead effortlessly. Outfitted with weighty remote-controlled outer automatic weapons and camcorders to recognize zombies on the sides, Dead Retribution principally works as a moving light show base. Zombies are interested by firecrackers, and, very much like people, will gaze up at the sky expanding at them while overlooking the people traveling through the roads around them. Riley Deanbo, both the planner and authority of Dead Retribution, has as of late resigned. Dissimilar to Kaufman, Deanbo is regarded by the residents of the city for his work to shield them from risk, as well as bringing them basic food and clinical supplies, things which they can never again secure for themselves. This is the reason for the Dead Retribution, and the groups that go with it. Nonetheless, Deanbo finds that the man he got a vehicle from Chihuahua is liable for the vehicle's vanishing and afterward finds him attempting to take care of Slack, a whore, to zombies. Infuriated at this, Riley and Charlie save Slack and kill the man Riley was to get his vehicle from so he could go out of the green. The three are before long captured and brought to prison. Here Slack discovers she was to be killed by zombies on Kaufman's requests, since she is really a specialist for Mulligan. Mulligan is an Irishman who once worked with Riley, yet presently has betrayed Kaufman's class society and attempts to accumulate rebels among poor people. A piece of his displeasure might be that he has not a chance, beside Riley's provisions, to acquire antitoxins for his sick child. In the meantime, Cholo de Mora, the second in charge of the Dead Retribution group, having been diverted somewhere around Kaufman from purchasing a loft in Fiddler Green, has gone rebel. Having his fantasies broke by Kaufman, for whom he has been covertly utilized, among his errands the removal of the bodies of Kaufman's killed adversaries, Cholo is on a mission to set things straight. He takes steps to annihilate Fiddler Green with the Dead Retribution, which he figures out how to seize the vehicle, alongside Nice Kid, Mouse Anchor, and Charming, who all put stock in his goal. His message stands except if his requests are met. Zombies assault as he is leaving, yet Cholo couldn't care less and orders his team to drive away without mediating. Kaufman goes to Riley to prevent Cholo from getting his payback. He is doled out by three different officials, Manolete, Motown, and Pillsbury, every one of whom work for Kaufman and give escort. After Manolete is chomped, Riley grills the other two, making his position very obvious to them. He has a GPS beacon, so he knows where to see as the Dead Retribution. They arrive, and pause. He goes just with Charlie, abandoning the other three. Motown needs to stop him, yet Pillsbury double-crosses her and takes her out, then gives Slack a protected escort to follow Riley. At the point when Riley at last gets Cholo, he is practically killed by Cholo, while the team trapped in the crossfire, including Slack, who moves for Riley's guard. Motown shows up, and is gone after by a zombie. Her passing gives an interruption, so Riley closes down Dead Retribution's capacity to utilize its weapons. With that, Riley persuades him to permit him to take Dead Retribution and pass on the city to travel north. Cholo chooses for Take the Woody, another jeep, and to go west. Charming chooses to go with him, but not long after this Cholo is chomped by a zombie. Cholo leaves for the city, needing to polish off Kaufman. Saucy takes the Woody and drives him to the entry, prior to going to Cleveland. During this, Riley and his team then, at that point, notice fires in the city and make a beeline for an attempt to save the city. In the meantime, zombies appear to have continued parts of their previous existences. A precious metal band blows insufficiently on their maturing horns, a team promoter conveys her tufts, a dead couple walk connected at the hip. A pioneer has ascended among their positions, Enormous Daddy, a previous corner store proprietor who keeps on sauntering out to the siphons each time an individual zombie makes the chime ring, becomes the dominant focal point as the undead hero. Bizarrely mindful and savvy, Huge Daddy, in a continuation of the Buddy plotline from Day of the Dead, guides a portion of his kindred zombies to utilize guns and beat the more simple human safeguards. The zombies are starting to learn, adjust, and even to speak with crude groans and snorts. In counter to the consistent strikes completed by Dead Retribution, Large Daddy at last leads the zombies in a gigantic attack on the human city when he understands that the zombies can essentially stroll on the lower part of the riverbed under the water to arrive at the people. The focal point of the gore happens at Fiddler Green. Kaufman observes his realm coming to pieces directly in front of him as the zombies conquer the people in a ridiculous slaughter. As the zombies surpass the city, the people find that the electrified barrier safeguards recently used to keep the zombies out have now turned into a wall to keep them in. As retaliation subsequent to being shot by Kaufman, Big Daddy trails the escaping tyrant to an underground carport where Kaufman intends to get away from in a Lincoln mainland. Enormous Daddy tracks down Kaufman's vehicle close to a service station and, in a snapshot of disclosure, Huge Daddy starts siphoning gas into the taxi through an opening in the windshield. Clearly fulfilled, he blunders out of the carport. Cholo, presently vivified, figures out how to find Kaufman. He faces him in the carport and utilizes his brand-name speargun for a short duel, he then disposes of it and messes with him. Be that as it may, Huge Daddy isn't done. He shows his insight by and by when he moves a consuming item toward Kaufman's gas-drenched vehicle. It detonates, completing Kaufman and heaving the undead Cholo securely away from the impact. In the interim, Deanbo and Dead Retribution have battled to free the occupants of the now overwhelmed city. At the electrified barrier, the group finds a slaughter, with no place to run, ruined and world-class the same turned into a mobile dead buffet. Obliterating the wall, nonetheless, the team finds that a portion of the city's lower-class occupants had followed Mulligan, who drove them to a protected sanctuary somewhere else. This little gathering had made do. After the zombies obliterate the class framework made by Kaufman by killing a large portion of the city's tip-top positions, the battleground is evened out and the zombies pull out. After the assault, it seems like the vast majority of the number of inhabitants in the city have made do. During this Anchor is almost killed by a legless zombie, but Pillsbury saves him. Nice Kid, the driver of the Dead Retribution, has an unmistakable chance at Huge Daddy as the zombies leave, however Riley arranges her to stop, since, as they're him, only searching for a spot to go. Deanbo and his companions leave the city with the Dead Retribution, striking out for the north. As they leave, they fire Dead Retribution's all's firecrackers, which they won't require any longer since they affect the undead, in a presentation of festivity. So companions, our story closes here. If you like this story then please subscribe the channel or like the video. Soon we will meet you with another new and intriguing story.